Good afternoon. My name is Jeff McKenzie. I am an audio engineer, and this is another edition of A Sound Advice. And in this tutorial, what I want to do is tackle and get down and dirty with why we need to achieve a static mix. What's the benefits of having a static mix? And I want to demystify those that may feel that we don't have to do that, or that it's time consuming in doing that. So I want to really give that importance of why we need that static mix. So if this interests you, please stay tuned, and I'll be right back as we get into what is a static mix. Okay, what is a static mix? A static mix is a mix that you only use your faders and your pan pot. That's all you use. Okay, static mix does not include using plugins. You don't use any plugins. You don't use any kind of automation. All you're doing is getting a balance. You're moving things from left to right to get the left and right side balance, and things that you want up the middle. You're just getting a balance. You're just getting an overall picture of what the mix is doing. So that's what a static mix is. Okay? The benefits of a static mix are that now you can make a clear decision on what needs to be done for the mix. If EQ is needed, then you apply the EQ. If compression is needed, you apply the compression. Okay? But how can you do these things without listening to what you're doing? See, a lot of times we want to be proactive without listening. And we need to be retroactive. We need to hear it first, then make a decision on what needs to be done. That's what's being a audio engineer is. We're trying to bring out the best of the song. You know, we're trying to bring out the best of the recording, I should say. Not the song, but out of the recording. We're trying to bring out the best out of the recording. And a static mix helps with that. It helps with hearing what the recorded material needs in processing, and not just start putting on plug-in after plug-in and going on about your business. So let's jump into my DAW and let's see how to obtain a static mix.
Okay, let's get into it now. I just want to make sure that we have an understanding that you don't have to use a static mix. This is nothing that's written in stone that you must use a static mix, or you must use gain staging is another term for what we're getting ready to do, so I just want to make sure that you understand that this is what I do, and this is what helps me with my signature sound, and I'm just showing this and hopefully giving a very clear understanding that if you choose to do this, this could be a path that can help you to your signature sound. And that's why I want to share this knowledge about a static mix. Excuse me. So I just want to make sure that we understand that. So now what I'm going to do is I already did a balancing of this project, but and that's simply because of time purposes. But I am going to give a little short demonstration of what I am talking about, so that you'll have that visual and you can see, and hopefully that brings even more clarity to your understanding. So right now, let me highlight my tracks, and then I'm going to play the mix as is. All I did was just the file, just a simple recording, and I'm going to play it as is, and then I'm going to play it with the static mix, and then from there I'm going to show you what I did to achieve the static mix. Okay, so let's listen to it first without the static mix.
In the street, just trying to find his feet. And here comes wife Eudora. She can't take much more, but she still follows him around and helps him to the ground. Two opposites together and they're both alone. Nothing gives true love a test like losing all you own. Come tears of loneliness, and here come the rain.
Okay, so my purpose for when I'm just listening to the raw recordings, there's two main things that I'm listening for, and that I'm looking for. There's two main things, and the first thing is I'm looking to see if the recording is going to clip. And for this, now we're not playing the whole song, but it could be some clipping in the whole song. But as far as right now, for what we're listening to, there's no clipping. So that's a good thing. That means to me that the recording engineer who recorded the material knew what they were doing. It doesn't sound bad. The recording doesn't sound really bad at all, but it does. But there are some things that we need to address, most definitely in the mix. But as far as the recording, it doesn't sound bad. So when we get into processing, I can already tell it's not going to be a heavily processed project because of the simple fact they took time in getting the recording right, so that's good, and that's a plus. Now what I'm listening for, the second thing, is that I'm listening for the loudest instrument in the song. So we have kick, snare, overhead, drum room, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar 1, electric guitar 2, electric guitar 3, electric guitar 4. We got 2 vocals that are stacked, and then we have harmonies. So I'm listening to all of the tracks to see which track is the loudest. And for my ears, now it may be different for if you were mixing this and you were listening to the recording, it would be, you may hear something different from what my ears are hearing, and that's okay. That's fine, because not every person hears alike, so, but for me, it's the guitars, and I can look and see that there is some extra stuff here. There is differences here and here, but in the beginning part of the guitar playing, they're doing the same thing. So, and you know, it could be the guitars being kind of loud because they're stacked and everything like that. But let's see if they're let's mute one of them, and let's see let's mute one, and then let's see what we hear. If I'm still hearing that same thing, let me see. Okay, so to me, it's almost a tie between the acoustic and the electric guitar, but to me, it still seemed like the electric guitar is the prominent instrument that is the loudest. So it was recorded the loudest. So now that we're going to go with that, we're not going to get into a debate about it, but we're going to go with the electric guitar. And so with me picking out the loudest instrument in the project, that's the one I'm going to mess with first. So what I would do is, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now let's listen to the song with the static mix on. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so now we heard it, we heard the recording. Now let's listen to the static mix. Okay, here we go.
He's falling in the street, just trying to find his feet. Here comes wife Eudora. She can't take much more, but she still follows him around and helps him to the ground. Two opposites together and they're both alone. Nothing is true love, it's just like losing all you own. Come tears of loneliness, and here comes the rain.
Okay, so with a static mix, you can hear more of the instruments. You know, you can. It's when we first heard it, it was everything was, to me, it sounded like everything was just fighting. You know, just fighting to, you know, trying to get in position. You know what I'm saying? So with the static mix, I have kind of put things in position with volume control. You know, things, you know, now you can kind of hear what you can hear your game plan. You can not hear your game plan, but you can set up a game plan now of, okay, I see how I want to shape it. You know, I see the path I want to go down with this mix, you know, and that is, you know, and that's the purpose of the static mix, you know. So now we're going to get into how I achieve the static mix. Okay, so first thing is, okay, we already discussed what the loudest instrument is, and I'm using a plugin. Now you may be like, hold on, you said in the definition of what a static mix is, we're using our pan pot, we're using our fader to get a static mix, and that's true. But as in what we do, there are no rules. And this is what helps me to get a static mix better. So I'm going to explain why I use my mix tool. Every DAW, DAW DAW has one of these things, and all it is just a gain knob. For example, Pro Tools, they call theirs the trim tool. Okay, so it's not an uncommon thing to have this, because when we would have on an analog desk, you would have a gain knob at the very top. So if that signal was hot, you could adjust it and turn it down so that it wouldn't be clipping, So this is a tool that's always been around, so it's nothing new. But this is, for my workflow, this is what helps me to get a better gain stage, by gain staging. Another reason why I like to use my mix tool, because I have it as the first insert, because I want the signal to hit this first, so that if we did have clipping with this instrument, I have brung down the gain some to where now the material is not clipping. Okay. Another area, this square here, this is another place that I can have volume control. As you can see, it has 0.0 dB. I can move that up and down for volume control, and every DAW has that. Every DAW has where you can actually turn the track down on the track, and this acts the same way as this square. I can put this insert on and do the exact same thing, but without having to touch the track. So my workflow is better for me to turn down, turn up with this plug-in instead of trying to do it here. I can work faster, doing it here than doing it here. So when I'm turning down, now I know I'm not going to get that track to peak. Okay, it's not going to peak anymore. But so if I put on my EQ and I don't have the trim tool, I don't have my mix tool, and I have my EQ on and my plug-in is peaking, it's clipping. And if I try to turn it down with this fader, my plug-in is still going to clip. No matter if I turn this all the way down, that plug-in is still going to clip. So it's not going to help from here, turning it down. What only two places is going to help is either putting this in as the first insert, then my EQ, turning this down, then I'm not getting any clipping. Or I just have my EQ, but I come up here and I turn this down. Then I can control the clipping that my plugin won't get, because we know that plugins clipping is not a good thing, especially in your DAW. It's not a good thing. We don't want to do that. We don't want to overload our plugins like that. Now this, when I'm doing fine-tuning volume control, it's best to be here, because look at how the numbers go. See, the numbers aren't jumping real crazy. It's kind of a smooth, it's not smooth, but it's a little bit more controllable than if I have it down here. And look how big jumps this will make. See, look how big those jumps are. You see? And then I'm trying to control, that's just too big of jumps. So it's more, active yeah, just more active when it's here at unity, because at 0, that's unity gain, and I get a better control of my fader here. And it's just when I'm just trying to, still, get a real good balance. But that's when I'm having processing on and all those kind of things. But to get my static mix, I use this. So hopefully you understand what I'm talking about while I say I use this to achieve my static mix. Okay. So since this is the loudest one, like I said, I already did a static mix, but now I'm about to show you how I achieved it. Is I bring it down -12.72 dB. Okay. So now, and this is I'm turning it down, I'm listening, and I'm gauging on my meter of what's going on, So I like my static mix to be somewhere in here. And then by the time I'm processing, I would like it to be somewhere in here. So my static mix is going to give me headroom for my plugins, for when I start adding plugins, because plugins is going to give you some volume, and I need headroom for that. And I don't need, putting it on and it's already clipping. I can't use that plugin because I have no headroom. So that's another purpose of a static mix, that it helps with the headroom. So now that I have that, I have that sound. So let's solo that. Now I'm coming over to the kick. So I just start at the kick. So with the kick, unsolo it, and I bring this tool in, and hold on. Sorry about that. Throat was getting a little scratchy. But anyway, now I'm ready to blend the kick with the loudest instrument. We're not going to say the guitar. We're just going to say with the loudest instrument. And now I'm going to blend in the kick. And see, and I already have done that. And I brung my kick down to a -2.64 dB. So let's listen to both of them together. Okay, it's on a part. Let's listen. It's coming in. Okay, so no, it doesn't sound like, ooh, wow, no, it's not. But what we're looking for, or what we're listening for, I'm sorry, not looking for, but what we're listening for is that I can hear the guitar and I can hear the kick. Okay. Now I go from the kick and I like to go to the bass. I just like to work with the low end first before I start working with other things. So all my low end instruments, I always like to get them in some kind of control before I start messing around with other things. That's just me. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I'm just trying to just let you understand like why I didn't go straight to the snare. This is just how this is my workflow. So it may be quirky to you, but this is just how I do it. But is it wrong for me going here? No, it's not. There's no rules saying that I can't go here. So let's hear now the kick and the bass and the electric guitar, or combined with the loudest source that we turned down. And with the bass, I turned it up to 1.44 dB. okay, to hear the bass, to, you know. So let's hear with the bass, and let's put on the part where the bass is kind of got some stuff going on. That's about right up in here. So now you was trying to say, like, well, you know, the bass guitar is louder than the kick, you know, and and things like that. And let's bring it here and listen. See, right here, it sounds like they're playing nicely together. But if you pay attention to the bass, you can see that the dynamic range is a little bit more or louder than it is here. And then it's very subtle here, you know. So that's one indication that, yeah, this bass track, we gotta get this evened out, you know. So it's gonna be some compression work that needs to get done for this bass, you know. So but it may not be where we want it, but it's close. And that's the main thing that a static mix is just get you in a ballpark to give you that path that you're going to take for the mix. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this is. That's what the main purpose of a static mix is to let you get all the pieces together. You know, okay, this is what we're going to do here. This is what we're going to do here. This is what I'm hearing here. So I know that I can do this. You know, I'm hearing this here, and I can do this. So that's how you map out a game plan. And you may want to have like your spiral tablet or your phone or whatever, and typing out your notes of what you're going to do with the bass guitar. You know, like I said, you know, I can just see, you know, I can see with my eyes that there's a lot of dynamic range that needs to be addressed, and that's a note. You know what I'm saying? With the acoustic guitar, you know, there's problems in the dynamic range that need to get addressed. You know what I'm saying? You may have, you know, you listen to the whole song like I did. I listened to the whole song, and I know we didn't get to listen to the whole song, but right here, you know, this is a solo part. There, you might want to do something unique with this guitar, you know, to give it some added spices, and you may have some ideas because you're listening to the static mix and you have some ideas. So the thing is that you're listening over and over and over and over and over, making your attack plan of what you're going to do because you're listening. And remember what I said, we want to be retroactive, not proactive, retroactive. You know, if we're going to be proactive, we're being proactive because we want to listen. What's going on? You know, what do I need to do? You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole deal. You know, you have stacked vocals here, you know, and you may need one, you may not, depending on, you know, the direction. You may, you know, you're listening to the static mix, you mute it, unmute it, mute it, unmute it, you know, listen to the whole song with one vocal, listen to the whole song with two vocals, and you make up your mind if, oh, you know what, I can use them this way. I can chop this, and, you know, it'll stack here, but it's not going to stack here. You know, however you come with your ideas, you know, what you want to do with the background vocals. You know, your notes may have, you know, I want to definitely use a hall reverb here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what helps you to have that game plan. And It helps you to have the game plan, and now you can move a lot quicker as you're processing and as you're going along to getting this recording to sounding the best that it can possibly sound. So with all that being said, I hope that it brings some clarity on how you can on what a static mix can do for you in the mixing process. And and remember, this is at the start of the mix. This is before you do anything. You get your static mix so you can hear it. And I hope that me explaining how I obtain by getting the loudest track and then mixing that, then getting the getting in the next track, mixing, blending that in, and this is all by ear. This is just by your taste, so trust your ears. Once you have it turned down, and trust your ears that okay, it's where it needs to be, because remember, this does not need to be perfect. And then you just move to the next instrument. So because after you finish, you'll have all the instruments, you have turn levels up and down. Like I say, if you want to use your faders, use your faders. If you want to use your mix, mine's called a mix tool, but your trim tool, your volume knob plug-in, use it. You don't have to do it exactly the way that I do it, but I'm just explaining why I do it the way I do it. And that's one thing as an engineer. Anything that I do, I have an explanation of why I'm doing it. I have an explanation of why I'm using my mix tool. I have an explanation of why I'm using that EQ. I have an explanation of why I'm using my compressor. I have an explanation, last example, but I have an explanation of why I pan left or why I pan right. I have reasons for everything that I do. It's not just I just did it, and I seen somebody else do it, so that's how I just been doing it. No, I have a reason why I do what I do, and having the static mix, that helps you have a reason to do the things that you need to do for the mix. Okay, so I really hope that this was helpful. And we'll keep working on this, because I'm showing you a static mix, but when we get ready to do a full mix, you'll see the process again, because this is in my workflow. So just if you have some, just rewind and look at it again till you get that understanding, because that's the number one goal, is for you to get that understanding, and then you'll know for yourself if doing a static mix is good for your workflow or it's not good for your workflow. Okay, so we're going to go and conclude and wrap it up, and I'll see you back up top.
Okay, welcome back. And in this closing part of this video, I just want to encourage you to do what's best for you. This what I'm talking about, a static mix, is something that I use, and it helps me to achieve my signature sound. Static mix may not be for you. It may not be what you need to achieve your signature sound, but it's what I use, and I just want to share that knowledge of a static mix for the individual that's looking to have that signature sound. And just to recap, static mix, what a static mix can do for you is that it can give you a direction in where you want to go in the mixing process of the song. That's one. Two, it will allow you to hear what may need processing to what may not need processing. And lastly, and I feel this is the most important, is that it allows you to listen first and then process second. So that's the benefits that I see from a static mix, and I hope that you see those kind of benefits too. But like I said, hopefully this was some good information, and if it was, and you want to continue to hear this type of information, go ahead on and hit that subscribe button. And then while you're at hitting that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to continue to keep up on the content that I'm going to be putting out on this channel, then go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll know every time that I drop a video. So, this is Sound Advice. My name is Jeff McKenzie, and I'll see you on the next one.